watched the previous videos, you've seen some maintenance activities that I've done on our pool robot. This is a Zodiac MX6, and when I last checked it, it needed some parts. So the parts have arrived. We have some ball bearings right there. We'll get those in place. And we have some new tracks. So let's get those on the robot. I'm going to start by lifting the cover off, and that shows what's inside, so that if you haven't seen the other video, this is the engine. Drive shaft is underneath this cover. Suction comes through that hole and turns the engine, which turns the wheels, which also turns the fan on the bottom. Underneath this cover on the drive shaft is where these ball bearings go. So let's get those replaced. There's 6 screws. I'm gonna pop them out, lift the cover off, and then we'll lift the drive shaft out, put the new ball bearings in. And then while I'm in here, I'm just going to, just like I did with maintenance, just make sure any debris and everything is cleaned out of this. You know, somebody had asked me, what do you need a pool robot for if you've got a screen lanai? I don't think you could have a pool robot if you didn't have a screen lanai, because you would get all kinds of leaves and crap blowing in that it would be too much for a robot like this to take care of. This does really good for small items that drop into the pool. You're going to get small bugs and spiders and just little creatures and some dirt and dust and all that other stuff. Your pool has vents on the bottom that will pull debris off the bottom of the pool, and it also has a skimmer on the top that pulls anything that might be floating on the top. And what the robot does is it helps those vents on the bottom by running around and cleaning. Also, if you didn't have a pool robot, you'd have to go around and brush the pool all the time. So this kind of saves a little bit on your pool maintenance activities. These screws out of here. Something else to mention about the screens, there's different kinds of screens that you can put on your lanai. You can get screens that are really dense. They'll block out what's called the no-see-em bugs, but that does impact what you can see. It makes it very dark when you're looking through the screen, and it does block out a lot of the sun, and you're going to lose some scenery, which if you don't have scenery, the no-see-em screens are fine. They're a little more expensive, but they're fine. But if you've got a really nice scenery like I've got behind me, I don't want the no-see-em screens. I want some of the regular, less dense screens. The downside to that, they're going to let some of the smaller bugs in. Yeah, sure, it'll keep the big bugs out, but they call them no-see-ems because you really don't notice they're around until they like fly by your face, and then it's like, what was that? It's just a little tiny bug. But you can also let some other bugs through. So I've got a bug zapper to kind of help combat that, but still the bugs are going to come through. Also, if you have any little holes in that screen, bugs are going to come through, and those bugs get drawn to the water, and that's how your pool ends up getting dirty. Got the screws off. Now this cover lifts right off, and inside you can see the engine's exposed, so isn't the drive shaft. And then this engine and drive shaft will just lift right out. Oh yeah, I always forget. This wheel, you just pop that out a little bit, and then the drive shaft will come out. So pop that wheel out, and then the drive shaft will come right out. It's easy. I'm just making it look hard. So now the drive shaft is out, I can just go ahead and clean it. You can see right there's one of the ball bearings on one end. There's another ball bearing on the other end. If I pull that out, I can get at that ball bearing. And these just pull right off, just like that, and then you can replace them. Real easy. Next up is to change the tracks. This is what I got from Amazon. No, they are the right size. That's perfect. So you can see there's quite a bit of, where am I at? There's quite a bit of track on here. And if you look at these old ones, and you can see it better once I get it off, there's no track at all. So getting these off, these are like just rubber bands, they stretch around the wheels. So you just have to pull it off. Just like that. Around the wheel, off it goes. Now the new one is just going to go on the opposite way the other one did. Just going to stretch it on here. See if I can angle this so you can see what I'm doing. There's like a groove on the inside of the track, right? And then there's a groove on the inside of the tire, so you just have to get those grooves to line up. I'm gonna do the top one first. There we go. Wrap it around this tire, and then stretch it around the last tire. Almost have it. Probably spin the tires a little bit to help it, but all right, there it is. It's on. New track, old track. What a difference. You can do the same thing with the other side. All right, we're all assembled, doing the check now, and I noticed something kind of interesting. As I spin the wheel, look what's happening over here. The gears are skipping, right? Now I can turn this manually. It's kind of tough to turn, and it seems to be going okay. And then I can go back to turning this and it gets stuck. Try turning it this way. Yeah. So there's a gearbox. I open this up. There's a gearbox over here. So I'm gonna have to see if I can get a replacement gearbox. There's something going on in there. We have a few more parts to replace on the pool robot. Today we have a drive shaft. I thought our drive shaft was pretty good, but because it's having some gear problems, I thought this would be a good replacement. The next is the directional control gearbox, so we'll be replacing that as well. The robot has trouble moving around inside the pool. And if you remember, it was making a clicking noise, like the gears were skipping, the teeth on the gears were skipping, so we're going to replace that as well. And hopefully that helps our pool robot to continue cleaning the pool for a long time to come. I've already showed how to disassemble and get to the drive shaft, so I'm just going to fast forward through that part of this video. That's the old one. And now we'll just insert the new one. That easy. Next up, the directional control device side A gearbox. And the way this works is there's some gears in there. The drive shaft sets inside of it, right? And the drive shaft spins and it turns the tire on the outside. So just like that. And it says, do not turn. That's what I'm turning it. It's kind of tough to see here, but there's a screw right back in there. And that screw, I don't know if you can see it, that screw has to come out. The tread on the outside also has to come off. This, and it's just like a rubber band. Just stretches over top the tires, over top the wheels. There we go. So that just pops right off. There's another screw right there that comes off, and what will eventually happen is this whole piece will just slide off here. That screws out, and now this just kind of lifts away. And as it lifts away, that's the component that we are replacing. The black part just slides off of the case. Takes a little bit of oomph, but it does come off. Yeah, again, there's just sand and everything in here. So no surprise that might have failed. Okay, we take the new one and then reassemble it exactly the opposite way that I disassembled it. So this will just slide back in. This notch on the top goes right into that, and then the screw, you know, that was the screw from the outside. That screw goes in the bottom part. Just getting everything lined up. And slide it together. And then we put this back on the robot. And this piece just goes right back on there, and we put the screw back in the one side, tighten the screw up on the outside. Outside. Now we have the motor with our new drive shaft on it. And when you go to insert this, you may have to twist these fans a little bit just to get it so it fits in there the way you want it. And remember, when you're putting it in, there's this side wheel on the top that fits right into there. So you have to pull out that side wheel and then shove it back in once you get it in place. Can't really probably see very much well what I just did, but there it is. Drive shaft going into that gearbox, and then the side wheel, just push that back into place so that it comes into contact back here. So that looks pretty good. Next thing we're going to do is put the cover onto the drive shaft and the engine. Again, you may have to adjust the fins to get this over the top. Push it down snug and put the 6 screws back in place. All right, that looks pretty good. The next thing, final thing, is we just have to put that track back on. Again, it's like a rubber band, stretches right over. And as a test, I'm just spinning the fan and making sure the tires are moving as expected. Pretty good. Just saw that tire change direction, so the track changed direction. Okay, I think we're back in business. We can go launch it back into the pool.